not hard for you to be the first. Well, congrats. See, just had a bunch of alerts go off, so it's pretty good timing. We have CPI data in an hour. That we'll give it a couple minutes or so. See, join. Probably going to be a pretty quiet stream this week, given the state of the market. I think interest is pretty low, like trading. It's always the case, like towards sell-off, bottoms of sell-offs. But yeah, just had a bunch of signals come in, so we'll take a look at those. Actually, I have 2 active positions right now. I have my Riot spot position, which is holding. I think I'm just gonna let this play out, to be honest. I still like the potential breakout on Riot. To me, this is still a really nice looking chart, so I'm going to keep an eye on this for the breakout. So this I'm still in this, and I opened a position on Corteva yesterday, a couple of hours before close. So pre-market is trading just above where it closed yesterday, so not bad. But I thought this was a pretty nice area for it. Daily Z score was not optimal, but that's absolutely fine. I had like a nice buy signal on the 4-hour, on the quarterly VWAP, on the M30 time frame, on the monthly, even like a 4-hour buy signal on the monthly, like strong buy signal, which is pretty nice. These are pretty rare. You can see last time we sort of formed a 4-hour buy signal on the monthly, it was bottom, and then bottom. So a system works pretty nicely for these 4-hour signals. So let's see how this plays out today. But yeah, seen some nice sell-offs from some of these agriculture and fertilizer companies. So I've got my eye on those at the moment. So yeah, only active 2 positions right now. I'm looking at getting a long on hype. I do like the recent pullback on it. Somewhat, I like the recent pullback on it. I think into $50 looks like a really, really important place for hype to continue to hold. I mean, you've got that big round number, right? $50 is a big round number. And it's essentially, you know, if you look at like the weekly, it's kind of like this prior all-time high retest. So a really important place for hype to hold structurally and also value-wise. I think a deviation back below 50 on hype would be pretty bad for those hype bulls. I likely be seeing a move back down to the $40 region if 50 can't hold. So I like a sweep under 50 into the quarterly VWAP, the yearly value area high, the prior monthly VWAP, and I essentially just watching for a buy signal on my indicator. So keep an eye on that to get long on hype today. one's joining. Well, I haven't looked at charts too much this morning anyway, so I'm gonna go about my my charting as I would usually. Take a look at some of the alerts that pinged off, and overall, like BTC still looking pretty weak. Pretty nice bounce yesterday from the prior weekly value area low and developing monthly value area, but all in all, still think I get my sweep into 57k. I like the look of a sweep into 57k. These are my current spot bids, bidding from 57.7 down to 52 with a higher time frame invalidation under 50. Looking for a bottom soon, even like a bear market low bottom into this 50s mid 50k region. As long as BTC continues to trade below 66k, I'm expecting lower prices. Trading below the prior quarterly val, developing quarterly val, trading below the February value area low, the developing monthly value area low. So in terms of a trend and where the strength lies right now, is still on the sell side, still trending to the downside, and until we see a flip above 66k, I'm looking for a move lower back into the mid 50s to accumulate a spot down here for a bottom before legging up at some point. Time wise, it's like unknown. I was discussing that with JD on stream yesterday in a Discord. Like, you can't really pinpoint like a time on it, so to speak, but it's easier to just mark out a level, right? The one thing that is quite interesting is that the idea, like, it seems quite far-fetched now, given we are trading 120% off all-time high. But like, I still mentally am toying with the idea that there could be a new all-time high by November. I think until we get to November and that setup has not played out, and that's when I would basically write this scenario off. So, you know, for me, like, there is possibility that we could be looking at essentially this trade, which just obviously seems a bit mental. But it's nothing abnormal. It's nothing we have not seen before. It's entirely possible. Excuse me, but like, you'd have external factors which are obviously going to play into this. But there could very much be a scenario where BTC sweeps into 50k and potentially we could go to all-time high by November. But obviously now that window is very, very small. Like, it seems like a really, really slim chance that would happen. It's 170 days, so to trade up 120% in 170 days, or even less, let's say, because, well, it would be 117% the all-time high. A theory on that is based off a tool that I used for this cycle to mark the period where I expect BTC to cycle top, and equally where I expect it to have quite an aggressive bullish period. Hi yo, James. Yeah, exactly. It seems very far-fetched, doesn't it? But I can explain this theory quickly. I've discussed it in the Discord a lot, or in previous write-ups as well. But what you can see on the chart here, these green and red zones, is a tool called the trend-based fib time tool. And what this tool does is using Fibonacci on a time-based sequence, right? So what we can do, we can mark the bottom of the 2018 bear market to the top of the 2021 bull market to the bottom of the 2022 bear market, and it projects the 0.16, the 1, and the 1.382. You can add more, like you can add different Fibonacci's. And obviously you can see that it projected BTC to top between October the 1st and November 26th, which obviously is a massive zone. And what's more interesting is that you can do the exact same thing on previous cycles and historically always mark the top. So you can see here for this cycle, for the 2020 through to 2021 bull market for BTC, we mark the bear market low of 2015, right, to the bull market high of 2017, to then the bear market low of 2018. That then projects the 0.16, the 1, the 1.382. And once again, you can see that BTC topped within this bull period, right? Within this red period, within this bear period, BTC ended up topping 13 to the bear market low of 2015. That then marks out the 1, the 0.1, the 0.618, the 1 to the 1.382. Again, marking an all-time high. So the most interesting thing is the point at which BTC actually crosses over into the 1 to the 1.382 region, right? In May 2015, you could say there was a 75% pullback, but you can see from the month that we closed into the 1 to 1.382, BTC pulled back 53% before making a new all-time high, right? In 180 days from that low, made a new all-time high and then topped out. Same again here, BTC closed the monthly into the 1 to 1.382, 40% pullback before going on to make a fresh all-time high, right? Exact same thing in 2021. BTC closed the monthly within the 1 to 1.382, 55% pullback, then went on to make a new all-time high within 150 days, 144% move, right? And then you've seen the exact same thing. We closed the month within October in the 1 to the 1.382, BTC pulled back 53%, which was 52%, now 53%. So we're going off trend. Like obviously that can easily be our cycle top. But, you've got a lot of people that always talk about the 4-year cycle, the 4-year high to high right here. See, is it like 143, 143, 143? So there's a lot of people talking about that 4-year cycle, right, top to top, and obviously that played out. But if we actually look at how these Fibonacci time expand over time, this is actually telling us that the bull cycle period, or at least the 0.618 to the 132, is getting longer, right? 400 days, 540 days, 700 days, 800 days, right? So there's very much ignoring outside factors, if we want to talk about trends, there's very much a possibility that this is not the bear market high, and that we could do, just theorizing here, we could go on to make a new all-time high by November before then officially topping out and going into the bear market, and then legging up again going into whenever, 2029, 2030, or whatever you want to say. As of right now, obviously this is very much looking like the bull market high, there's no doubt about that. And I still believe that this is a really nice place to be a buyer on BTC, down here into 57k, just as it has been in previous bear market lows. So I will buy down here, right? And my target will be all-time high. I'm just still toying with the idea that we could see an all-time high by November, right? So we could do something like this. I'm just toying with the idea that that could happen. So my long target remains all-time high, whether or not we go to that price in November or not. It doesn't phase me. The target for a spot position down here is an all-time high, whenever that might be, mid to long term, near term. Yeah, it does, isn't it? Like, it does seem like I even openly admit that it does seem quite far-fetched right now. But it's something really interesting. And obviously we're retesting this prior all-time high area, which we've never broken before in bear markets. We've never broken below the prior all-time high. It's always been a fantastic opportunity to be a buyer. So whether we go to an all-time high or not in November, that doesn't change the outlook. I still think that being a buyer down here into 57k is a really nice place. BTC. I'm also a believer that BTC is formed its bear market low against gold. On average, the BTC bear market against gold is around 13 months. I essentially called this back in the February closed. I openly called that the gold, the Bitcoin gold bottom was in. Since then, we saw like a 50% bounce in that pairing. And now I expect this to form a higher low, similar to what we've done in prior cycles. Right. We can see here we sort of bottomed, formed a little range, higher low before legging up. Again here, bottomed, formed a little higher low before legging up. And then down here, bottomed, formed a little higher low before legging up. So there's like a lot down here to tell me that we're very close to a local bottom on BTC. Whether that's the bear market low is obviously too I can't say that for sure. And then that's like ignoring outside factors, right? And then the outside factors we have are obviously main one is war. Whether BTC cares so much about war at the moment, sure. Second one is the stock market, right? When the stock market goes up, which it's been doing quite a lot lately, this directly is having an effect on BTC, and BTC has been weak, right? BTC has been pretty weak, especially lately, because you've seen things like AI bottleneck and like pumping, or the main sector being semiconductors, memory. A lot of these high liquidity stocks pulling multiple X's. So why is someone going to position into an asset that has essentially been down only year to date? Like year to date returns on BTC is pretty poor, but obviously now we're moving into territories that becomes very appealing. So you've got the stock market is obviously performing well. BTC performs pretty poorly. Again, the stock market starts to perform poorly. It's kind of having direct effect on BTC to perform poorly as well, which we're seeing, right? We've seen a pretty red week so far in stocks. We've seen a lot of semiconductors sell off a lot since the high. Nvidia is now down 14% off the highs. AMD 20% move off the highs. Around 30% off the highs. So some nice pullbacks across the board actually, and definitely starting to become interesting for me. I was always looking for a cool off from 74 to 7500s on the ES, but it did overshoot that sort of price target a little bit, and nevertheless it's starting to cool off here, which is great. Obviously things have been going pretty crazy, so a call off from stocks was well overdue. Galaxy's pretty strong actually. I longed it last week. Nice long on that. Pump is at the level you mentioned a while back. We'll have a look at some holds in a sec. Looking to level long Bitcoin down here. I'm actually only looking at scaling to spot. I have spot limits active. What I would do is level long if I got a good trigger on the lower time frame. I would open a level long as well. But for now, I'm just interested in scaling into spot. Spot is my main focus. Yeah, there's a lot of factors. I put up a blog post yesterday on my Medium, or you can read it if you're in the Discord as well, discussing more of an on-chain view about how holders are reacting here, and obviously whether we're starting to see capitulation, because something that you often see towards lows are long-term holders being underwater, right? That's the first thing. Often you'll see long-term holders be underwater. Another thing you often see is obviously short-term holders start to close out positions right into a loss, right? So holders from now to a year ago, right? These guys start to close out positions, start to capitulate throughout weak hands. Actually, we could probably pull the blog post up. So yeah, I took a look at the on-chain and done a little blog post on it. If you want to read it, you can go to my Medium. Well, I should just post the link in chat. There. And I was just discussing my thought process on the on-chain signs and looking at the net realized profit and loss, and also the unrealized profit and loss. So most of these metrics are flagging towards bear market low signals. For example, we can see that net realized profit and loss is moving into the negatives, right? What this is this is obviously realized profit and loss, so whether the coin's actually being sold, a gain or loss. And right now we're seeing a lot of BTC that is being sold in a loss, right? So often you can see towards bear market lows 2019, 2022, 2023, and then like 2015, you can see how we start to see this capitulation into the lows, right? You start to see that the majority of the Bitcoin that is getting sold is being sold into a loss, right? And we can start to see that here ever since sort of February. We're starting to see a lot of that BTC being sold into a loss. So capitulation happening. A lot of that capitulation is happening from near to mid-term buyers rather than long-term buyers, which is usually the case. You don't see long-term holders sell pretty much because obviously they have a comfortable entry. This is the one thing that hasn't fired off yet, the one signal that hasn't fired, and that's the net unrealized profit and loss. So the aggregate paper gain or loss across all holders relative to market cap. So you can see in this chart how BTC, often the net unrealized profit and loss will go negative, right, towards bear market lows. That's something we haven't seen yet. We're about a 15% move off that happening, and the reason for that is the cost basis. So explain this correctly. We need to see BTC break below 53k, because that would be the point where the spot price trades below the cost basis for BTC. And that's often where you start to see real capitulation happen, because then you start to see some longer term buyers be in a loss. So realistically, for like a true capitulation bottom, we want to see a move under 53k, which is one of the main reasons why I'm bidding 57 to 53. Now that doesn't necessarily have to happen, but it's something that we should really keep in mind. But other than that, everything's looking good. If we look at the Bitcoin supply and loss, obviously this is high because supply is higher, market cap is higher, but we can see the past 2 occasions or even 3 occasions where BTC supply and loss breached that 10 mil total was the 2022 low, the March crash, and then the 2019-2020 bear market low. And now we're yet again seeing a similar thing here. So there's a lot of capitulation happening. There's a lot of loss, unrealized or realized, being happening right now. And we can see that the current supply and profit and loss is around 53%. Again, similar levels to previous cycles. So yeah, lots to look at here, and lots to back up my theory. Why I think we're very close to bear market low, and why I'll be looking to bid the next sort of like inflation move from Bitcoin. I've got a bunch of XPO alerts going off. Let's see what XPL is doing. Yeah, XPL's looking pretty rough, to be honest. Had a bit of a nice bounce, but yeah, I personally wouldn't bid these buy signals, just simply because of the level it's in. It's kind of just in no man's land. I mean, this is just complete air below right now, so it makes it quite difficult to bid. That low wasn't bad to bid because we had like just swept that February low, that February wick, so it wasn't a bad buy signal. But other than that, I don't think I'd be. What's dying? XPL? Or you're dying because XPL is crashing? Oh yeah, it's looking rough. This is not like this is just not a convincing bounce. I think, I mean, first of all, because we couldn't even like off that lower, like a 60k sweep, we couldn't even push towards 66k, which was like the main level to retest. Also, this like, it's just, for me, this is just not like a convincing bounce. Like, it's already bleeding back out. Yeah, I wonder what yes, looking this week so far. Friday we had 320 mil selling. BlackRock was still selling yesterday, but we did see few ETFs buying, like Fidelity, Bitwise, ARK were buying yesterday. Sorry, on Monday, and then yesterday more selling. BlackRock. Crazy, despite the amount of like selling that was done since that May high. Like these guys, the total cumulative flow is only back to August 2025 levels. Stop here. So I'm not so surprised these guys are selling. Like the inventory is still pretty massive. I just realized I wasn't sharing my web page, sorry. Yeah, look, so despite like all of the outflow you've seen, from ETFs, like total is back to August levels. So the amount of selling they've done, like since the October high, the amount of selling they've done, and compared to the price, like look at the price compared to October, it's down 44% since since August 2025. Meanwhile, the total is still around 56. So these got like, yeah, they're just sitting on a pretty crazy amount of inventory still. Yeah, I mean ETFs are buying quite a bit through that Q2 move into Q3. Again, like yeah, they bought quite a lot post Trump inauguration. No, his inauguration was 23. when was Trump's inauguration? 20 is the like January, wasn't it? January 25, yeah. So post Trump winning into inauguration, they're buying quite a lot, but the flows have been pretty big on this recent move down, and basically no inflow. No. Like look previously when there was outflow, like we were getting some inflow, but in this occasion there's been none. It kind of reminds me similar to, yeah, this period back into March, April 2025 lows. These guys still got some big inventory. You a big believer that 1 mil Bitcoin? I mean, I don't know. I used to 2 cycles in a row now. I've had like one second. The 2 cycles in a row now, I've like given myself mental price targets, and neither of them were hit. So I think, like, especially something I've learned throughout this cycle was just to base my TPs and my targets off real factors, right? So real levels, and something why I've really enjoyed using these volume weighted average prices, like VWAP values lately, and the 2.5 to 3 standard deviation bands, is because they often project really well where price can overextend to, and often when we get to those levels, they can be very overextended. For example, BTC. You take here this rotation from the minus 2.5 to 3 standard deviation to this rotation, like from here I was targeting 140 plus, right? And realistically I'd already had my sell signals coming in. In fact, I can't remember if I was using the 2.5 to 3 standard deviation yet, but I was very much close to working on this system. And really, if you know, as soon as I had been alerted that should have been my TP for my my spot position. I was buying through May and June. I think setting like price targets is a really difficult thing to do, because you settle with those price targets. Especially in last cycle in 2021, I was convinced that BTC was going to go to 100k. That was my first cycle. But I was convinced, like when we were at like 50, 60k, that BTC was going to go to 90 to 100k. And obviously that didn't happen. And one of the main reasons I got wiped in May was because I had unrealistic price targets and expectations. And then again, sure, if you are a believer that BTC can go to 1 mil in 10 years, then you should trade on that front, right? So you should look to buy Bitcoin on the fact that you're looking at that trade, right? So you're looking at a long-term trade of, let's say you're buying down here into the 50s with a really wide stop. You know, you're looking at scaling in probably not just here, but over the next couple of years, rather than buying everything here with a target of 10 years time. It's it's really hard to like settle with price targets. Like, sure, I believe BTC could go to 1 million one day. 10 years, I don't know. You can see already how much like we depreciate in it, like in value every cycle, right? That cycle was a 12k move. This cycle was an 1800% move. This cycle, if that was the bull market high, was a 600% move. Like this midline, this mid ridge is the fair price for BTC. So since BTC inception, this was a our law model, and it's based on a mathematical equation that's essentially predicts the fair price for BTC since inception, the floor price and the overextension. You can see in every cycle we basically broke that fair price and we went into like an overpriced market. This is the first cycle so far where we didn't do that. So already we're seeing a bit of like a depreciation in value, not depreciation, the fact that it's getting like it's less, just in terms of the percentage price can go up by. So if this is going to be the case, like think about, you know, as we become a more mature asset, how much time it's going to take to form these waves like over years, and eventually it will just compress to be this like really slow, maybe climbing asset, right? And yeah, maybe 10 years down the line it's possible, but we can already see that this is sort of like the curving up, right? And this is curving as well. So I would be really interested in 10 years down the line to see, you know, wish we could skip 10 years ahead and see what BTC was doing, you know. Where's hype going? Where's the weakness come from? Yeah, I mean, it has kind of been up only since January, and it had like a really aggressive move, and like it's a 30% pullback, which like things you need to like understand, things will always rebalance. Like price might look like it's constantly going up in a straight line, but it's just not the case at all. Like market will always rebalance, refine itself. You know, this is kind of what was happening here, right? It's coming into rebalance, and then now we figure out like it comes into this area, and now we go, okay, we've rebalanced, we've reset. Is there interest still there? Yes, we're gonna leg up. If there's, you know, we come into here, we rebalance. If there's no interest, okay, it's gonna continue to break down, right? So this is why I'm looking for a move into here, looking for some bit of consolidation, a bit of rebalancing into $50, and then we can look for that further leg up. And you can almost guarantee there was a bunch of people buying this $70 breakout. Like look at how it rebalances, like break up, sell signal rebalances, breaks up, sell signal rebalances, break up, sell signal rebalances, back to value, continuation, continuation, continuation. Breaks up, sell signals, gets that little bit of overextension anyway. Okay, rebalances. When you first got into crypto in 2022, you were sure that it was going to $1 since that had zero expected. Yeah. I had many occasions, many spot bags when I first got into crypto that I set unrealistic price targets, didn't sell round tripped. Price prediction is very hard. Like, you got so many different factors. Kind of just want to get this 57k sweep out of the way. You know what I mean? Just continue to hold. We reclaim 66. Like, this I'll have to chase. We reclaim 66. There's probably a good chance we're not going to go to 57 near term. 57, 52. I need to look into this Fable, this Claude Fable thing. I don't know what it is. Seen a lot of questionable takes on its safety. Essentially. Anyone got any chart requests? Someone asked for pump earlier, didn't they? Yeah, that level of interest already kind of played out for pump. Swept under the October low. Had some nice buy signals, 25% bounce under that October low. It's kind of the setup. I missed that and it's pretty much played out now, really. Some really nice sell signals as well. The yearly view up. Don't know, I started trading stocks in April and just like didn't really look at much crypto stuff, but that was a really nice short. This is just another coin. Like, what? Like, I don't know what's gonna save this. Fuck, it's gonna save pump fun. Be cooked. At this point, you should basically just only buy a reclaim. Like, that's a pretty clean bearish retest right now. I'd only honestly even touch this if it got a bearish retest, like just based on like there's just air below, there's nothing below, there's nothing here, there's no history. The only reason I would potentially look at rebuying or even buying pump fund would be a reclaim, but I don't know, a lot of these coins look like this, lost really key levels with just complete air below, and no narrative around them either. pump narrative obviously fizzled out very fast. Maybe later down the line, if on-chain has a resurgence, meme coins has a resurgence, that could be good for it. But in terms of TA here, I don't like that bearish retest, and it needs to reclaim 1.65. Let's have interest again. Okay, got CPI in 7 minutes. Gold selling off. I should have. I was telling Tex that 45.50s was a really good level to sell his gold spot. I think he bought the low. I was like, 45.50s is a great level to reject. So that was clean. Kind of like also how I called the gold top as well. Like, instead of calling an exact price, I just wait until my system tells me to sell or tells me to buy, and then that's when I would look for an exit in a position, right? Like, most of my TPs and targets on my trades are dynamic, so they're based on the VWAP values and how the VWAP values move over time. And obviously, if price goes up, the VWAP values go up, and if the price goes down, the VWAP values go down. So they move, like, from my entry, like the VWAP values move. So my exact target, for example, let's say I long down here on this gold low. Initially, my target would be the developing yearly value area low around 4.6, right, from this point. But by the time trade would have got to that level, it was down to like 4.59. So you know, I'm losing like a 1% move. So like, instead of it being like a 1.7R trade, it's a 1.5R trade. So it'd be the same case for like selling into or like selling into these sell signals, especially in like continuation setups. Like, if you were long in here, like, you would target 12% move, and it wouldn't be until a 22% move where I start to get my trigger to exit or start to look for a reversal. Ready to get liquidated. On what? On CBI? It's numbers. I might as well stay on for CBI. Forecast 0.3 month on month. Previous is 4, so they're expecting it to come in lower than last month. And CPI year on year, expecting it to come in 2.9. Previous was 2.8, so expecting it to come in higher. That's core CPI. So year on year, they're expecting it to come on higher, and See how this plays on that. Well, yeah, because numbers last week. What numbers did we have last week? It had unemployment rate, right? It was the non-farm employment change come in at 172k, and it was forecast for 85k, so come in well higher. Came in way higher than forecast. Market didn't react to that very well. Market didn't like that at all. Like labor market was stronger than expected, essentially. Quite a large miss. COVID 2020. Yeah, give a nice little wick into 57. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Hi, Osteo. Morning. CPI. Oh, came in. It all came in as expected. Numbers fine. Inflation rise to 4.2%. Came in as expected, but yeah, forecast higher. No misses. Excuse me. Oh, core CPI came in lower than forecast. Uranium could potentially be a good bet soon. I had a nice daily buy signal on it. 4-hour buy signal. It actually bounced quite a lot since yesterday. 5%. When is next FOMC meet? Anyway. Next week, next Wednesday. Forecast 3.7. SM5. Been pretty unchanged for a while now. doing the opposite thing to what we wanted it to do. CPI. All right, we'll wrap it up there because I want to go get some lunch before New York Open. A couple of things I'm looking at. Uranium. I do like uranium. Currently in the CT, this Corteva trade for the group, the Discord. Obviously, if you are not in the Discord, check out. Follow in the link. Sure. Or follow me on Twitter where I do post some thoughts and stuff intraday. But main play right now is looking for a bid into 57 on BTC. Long-term spot buy into 57 down to 52 with a higher time frame validation of 50. This looks like the best trade right now. And Max Bortard take is that we can get a move into the all-time high region by November. Very, very fat chance, but the possibility is there until November comes around, and when at all-time high, then I will be a non-believer. Bid 57 unless we reclaim 64 to 66k. In that case, I will be looking to chase a position because I think a reclaim above 66 would be very bullish, like given and considering the levels that are there. Other than that, thanks everyone. Thanks if you stopped by. I don't think I'll be on Twitch next Wednesday. Going away for a few days at the weekend. Can't remember when I'm coming back. So look, yeah, make sure you check out all the socials and join Discord if you are not in there. Pretty good time to be wary of market and then keeping up to date with what BTC's doing and all that jazz. Have a good week, everyone. Bye bye.